Looking back at last week's television now, here's Jeremy Paxman.
Good evening and welcome to Did You See? I'm going to be talking about 3 of the week's television programmes shortly with my 3 guests. But before that, let's have a quick look at 1 or 2 highlights from the week's viewing. The most controversial programme of the week was last Sunday's Screen 1, G.F. Newman's Black and Blue, which showed the police as corrupt, racist and brutal. If watched and believed, it could have destroyed attempts at community policing single-handed.
Why? For being a fat mouth niggy niggy packy wacky woggy woggy coony woony? That's a serious charge, boss. Where'd you get him?
Grange Road, breaking into cars.
Your mummy never smacked you for telling lies?
Suspicion of having a stolen trombone will do, Sarge.
It's a joke. I didn't steal anything. I'm looking for a job.
That is a joke.
Ho, ho, ho! What's this, then?
You planted that. I saw you. You saw that. You planted... Oh!
This Is Your Life is back for its 26th series. Even after 550 victims, 12 million people or more still switch on to see who's going to be ambushed by Michael Aspel. This week, he was at the Theatre Royal, Windsor.
May I congratulate you all on this cornucopia of comedy, and to add, if I may, that I am indeed here to say tonight, Barbara Windsor, this is...
Darling, you can't do my life. Well... so naughty. Well, I just don't know what to say. Me speechless.
One wonders what the Carry On team would have made of A Word in Your Era, in which comics dress up as historical figures. Here's one of the funnier moments when Jim Sweeney as Rasputin answers questions from the audience.
Rasputin, could you tell us, do you feel responsible for the Russian Revolution?
A very good question yet again. This has come up before. I mean, the fact that, yes, maybe my behaviour was a little excessive, therefore reflected badly on the Russian royal family, dragging their name into the sewer, turning the population against them, turning soldiers in the army against officers and rallying them to Lenin, thereby bringing down the Russian royal family and causing the Russian Revolution, is one way of looking at it. But there is another alternative, of course, which has never been considered. I'd like to suggest to you that all the way through, I could have been working for the Bolsheviks. All my actions could have been contrived to bring about that revolution. I mean, I wasn't, but it's worth thinking.
Scarf in Paradise showed that there are still original and successful things being done on television. Having survived a near-fatal hold-up in Paris, Gerald Scarfe set out to examine his own and other people's idea of life and the afterlife, heaven and hell.
Heaven and hell may be awfully similar. It may be just a question of who you're with.
Stop all this sweat.
Good evening. John Percy.
Gerald Scarfe.
Delighted to meet you, Gerald. Funny thing, last time I sat next to a chap at a dinner party, his name was Gerald. Made the most frightful faux pas with his wife. He came in, sat down next to me, just like you. And I said to him, well, thank God it's you. I thought it might be that frightful harridan you came in with. And he said to me, that harridan, sir, is my wife.
Oh, dear.
Sat down next to me, just like you. And I said to him, thank God it's you. I thought it might be that frightful harridan you came in with. And he said to me, that harridan, sir, is my wife.
Yes, big mistake.
You can say that again. The guests were still coming in, you see. We hadn't even started to eat. And I was sitting there, and he comes in with this woman, and she goes off, and he comes and sits next to me, just like you. And I said to him, well, thank God it's you. I thought it might be that frightful harridan you came in with. And he said to me, well, perhaps no harridan, sir. That is my wife.
Yes, he said.
I think we had him as a guest on Newsnight last week. Let me introduce you to our reviewers now. Ken Follett wrote his first published novel because he couldn't afford to get his car repaired. Since then, he's become a best-selling thriller writer and champagne socialist who spends his time raising funds for the Labour Party. Any similarity with Jeffrey Archer is just a most unfortunate coincidence. Mariella Frostrup is said by Tatler to have the sexiest voice in the world. If you haven't heard it or seen her resolutely post-feminist wardrobe, it's because you don't watch youth programmes at ungodly hours of the night. Frostrup is a small town in Denmark which has now been turned into a nudist colony. In case you think this is beginning to sound like a roll call of contestants in some Baltic game show, let me assure you that N. Rytel is the real name of our third guest. He was the voice of Robert Maxwell and others on Spitting Image, but he's almost outgrown acting. The proceeds of all this enterprise go on trainers' fees for his numerous racehorses and the occasional bet when he can get the bookies to take his money. Now, first, we're going to look at the Big Breakfast Show. Breakfast television was brought to Britain by executives who'd watched it in their hotel bedrooms in the States. Unfortunately, they didn't realise that most people don't live in hotel bedrooms, and the audience in this country remains pretty static, whether the programmes are being presented by people in cardigans, suits or giant rat costumes. Channel 4 entered the fray determined to seize the high ground with news presented from London, Tokyo and Washington. When both their regular viewers got bored with that idea, they abandoned it and handed the time over to Bob Geldof. Here are a few moments from the first show on Monday.
It's the Big Breakfast here on Channel 4 live at 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday, September 28, 1992. I'm Chris.
And I'm Gabby.
OK, I wish I was Richard.
Oh, I wish I was you,
But we're not. We will be in 12 months' time, maybe, if we're lucky. Coming up on today's show, pack, big show. Bob Geldof meets the Australian Prime Minister.
John Major has his problems over Europe too, with the party divided over what to do about the Maastricht Treaty. He's apparently preparing a back me or sack me speech.
He's here, the scoundrel, the vagabond.
You are not worthy.
No, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. This is Bob Geldof, who is going to be doing the serious part of the show.
This is rubbish. You like British people?
Well, it's not that long ago when the sort of toffs in Britain who ran the civil service and the government regarded this as a colony.
But you were a colony.
I'm Dr. Dunlop and the Director of Public Health for the Whole Health Authority. I think more people should use hard toilet paper.
Finally, you get to see it, the wonderful, sweeping panorama of my boudoir, and I'm here on the bed with one of Britain's most popular and accomplished actresses, Joanna Lumley.
Paula.
It's completely
so
wonderful to be here with you.
It's fabulous. It's such a pretty little room.
Mariella, you were in contention as a possible presenter for this programme. Do you wish you'd got the job, or are you well off out of it?
Well, I think it's probably better for my viewers that I didn't, or I would have been on last thing at night.